And welcome back to Fresh Outlook, everybody, on TWB. Well, did you hear about this? Americans seem to be giving up their, wait for it, they're giving up their TV for other media. Take a look.
It's a trend that might have some shaking in fear, but others jumping for joy. Growing numbers of people are giving up TV for good. The Nielsen Ratings Company has a name for them, Zero TV Households. And today there are 5 million of them in the U.S., up from 2 million in 2007. According to experts, the Zero TV crowd still watches television, just not in the old way. Gone is the $100 cable or satellite service, or even the rabbit-eared antenna. Instead, more and more people are watching shows and movies online, sometimes right from their cell phones. How cable and network television executives will win back the Zero TV set remains a question, as does which internet TV platform will eventually take the lead. But as countless new ways of grabbing our attention continue to emerge, it's clear that the media business and the viewing habits of Americans are in for a change.
Indeed, the landscape is dramatically changing day by day. I want to introduce a new panelist. We have Jose joining us. Welcome. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Jose Lopez. I'm a professor of physics at Seton Hall University.
Terrific. Welcome. So let's get the conversation started. Why are Americans giving up their TVs? Let's start with you, Jose.
Because it's really expensive. Cable television is really, really expensive to maintain. We're talking about $100 a month, and most households can't afford that. And a lot of people have unfortunately forgotten that there is broadcast television.
Right.
And broadcast television is not the greatest of receptions these days. It's been digitized, but it's not the best.
Okay, so you think it's purely uneconomical? That's the main reason why
I think it's economical, and people have become so dependent on cable that they've completely forgotten that there is broadcast television. And other factors, I think, are because we went from a minute of commercials to 2 minutes of commercials to the current 4 minutes of commercials in between in between segments of shows.
Okay, Dee Dee, what do you think?
I think young people, I think that does make a difference economically, because $100 to a young person, they're like, well, forget it. I can just watch it on the internet. I don't need a TV. I don't know what's TV. So, and I agree with that. I really don't watch a lot of TV. I look at everything on the internet and pull it up on the web, and it's just, you know, and I think people are impatient now, and talking about the commercials too, with Twitter and with Facebook, people want their instant gratification. So they want the program right now, no commercials, and they just can pull it up on the net.
And especially college students. I mean, you know, you're on a budget.
Big
you
budget.
You don't have enough money for a TV and a computer. You need the computer, and hey, now your computer's also your TV. Look at that. I mean, why on earth would you spend money on a TV? What do you think, Bill?
I'm the opposite of Dee Dee. I live on my couch. I've only recently pulled myself out of the 19th century, and I now have the phone that I can do, check my email, and I have the pad, the tablet, and those things. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm viewing content for entertainment. The vast majority of what I use those for are communication devices, getting my information, getting out my information. But at a certain moment, I'm going to realize, the remote is too far, and I'll just put the tablet on the couch and I'll watch it from there.
I mean, I have so many friends, I can't tell you, who I don't have a TV. I just watch everything. Or cable. I mean, with Netflix and watching everything, you know, online, just, you know, subscription-based services, there's really no need. And appointment television, remember, I mean, I loved appointment television. If you've never heard of that, it's like sort of, you know, everyone watched The Cosby Show at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights. That doesn't exist anymore because nobody, you know, the entire world doesn't have the same appointment anymore, whereas before you did. So it's just a different landscape.
Not for want of trying. The networks are still trying to get back to, I mean, Warren Littlefield, who was an NBC executive at that time, when they developed the concept of, quote, must-see TV, they're still trying to do that. They're trying to get you to not only watch their show at a particular time, but then the next 3 shows after that. It is a model from the 70s and the 80s, and there's a lot of talk out there in Los Angeles that it's not a model that's working anymore.
I think it's outdated. I think it's annoying. It's like, I don't want to sit here and watch 3 television shows. I want to watch them when I want to watch them. I think young people are like that. They're impatient. They want to watch the shows. They want to watch when they want to watch them, and with the net, and you can do that.
I just think also we've become sort of so ADD that we just need to be doing 5 different things at once now, and the computer affords us that capability. I can be checking my email while I'm listening, while I'm watching, switching screens back and forth, whereas you're looking at a TV, that's all you got, and I think people are they're bored. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. We're an on-demand culture these days. We are a fast food culture. We want everything instantly, instant gratification. We want to get it at the moment. But the issue here is that everyone on this panel can afford $100 a month for cable access or for internet access, broadband access, but that's not the case. With the vast majority of Americans, they cannot afford broadband, and it's not a utility like water is, like electricity is, like broadcast television is. It's not one of the, or telephone or landlines. It's not a utility at this point.
Do you think on the other hand, though, if I can jump in, and I don't want to be just preaching to the column, but the piece talked about how it quoted that Nielsen says it's gone up from the no TV household gone up from 2 million to 5 million.
Right.
Well, the Nielsen still has 311 million households in this country that watch television, and there are over 51 million households, again, according to Nielsen this year, who don't have any cable, who don't have access to internet. So that's still, I mean, you might think, oh, it's out in the middle of nowhere, but there's 51 million Americans like that who rely on network television and local television for their news, for their weather, for their basic information, and their basic entertainment.
Let's talk a little bit about the digital divide. Jose, tell us what the digital divide is.
The digital divide is the affordability of having access to broadband internet, to have access to information, instant information. So you have a group of people, and they're not necessarily just people in New York City who can afford this and people who live out in a farm in Arkansas can't. There are people in New York City, about 2 million people, that can't afford broadband internet. They do not have access to it at all.
And does that put them at a at a sort of a subservient place? I mean, does it
I would argue absolutely. I mean, the internet is it is one of the greatest inventions.
That's the word. I mean, are they at a disadvantage?
Absolutely. Absolutely, no doubt. I mean, if we compare,
why can't they just go to a library?
They do. I mean, libraries have been completely resurrected. The public library was access to knowledge. The knowledge used to be 100 years ago when Andrew Carnegie gave all his donations out to public libraries to have books available so anyone, whether you were the richest person in town or the poorest person in town, could read it. And what they've done that completely changed them is they have internet access there. But internet access is not available readily to anyone 24/7 like electricity is. I mean, look at technologies like water. Water going into everybody's household, clean water. Look at what electricity's done. It's an enabling technology. One, water for health, electricity for all the other technologies.
So you bring up a good point. Should this be a right or a privilege? What do you think, Dee Dee?
Well, I want to ask you, I was just curious about the difference between people picking cable versus internet. Because to get the internet service versus cable TV, no question in my mind, I'm going with the internet. But I think that's the same level of where people have their money break point, where they pick one or the other. And I think younger people would definitely pick the internet over cable. And maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right, but I don't know. I just think that that's the point where people, after they have their basic needs and basic utilities, what are you going to pick, cable or internet access for your phone? And a lot of people just use their little phone. I do it all the time.
What are you going to pick, water or electricity?
Right. or cable has realized that. Cable television, Comcast, that they have realized
so it's
that
a big
they've switched over
now, right?
Absolutely.
But should this be a right or a privilege? What do you think?
I don't see where it's a right.
I mean, should everyone have access to? I mean, is it something we all need to?
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't answer your question. I don't think it should be a right.
Yeah, I'm hearing Pete Townsend scream, "I want my MTV."
I don't think it should be a right. If you can get it, great. If you can't, you can try, but it just doesn't work that way.
I want my new Ferrari.
No, I am in complete agreement that it is a right. Every single person in the United States of America and the world should have a right to internet broadband access.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How do we do that?
It's
Who's
wireless.
Pay for it?
It's become wireless. Well, who pays for electricity? Who pays for things? We have public utilities that are regulated by the federal government, by our government agencies. We can do the same exact thing to broadband internet.
Okay, I disagree. That's too much government. No, that's too much. Why should we pay? I don't know. I don't agree with that. Water, yeah. Food, yeah.
You don't think it's not a necessity?
No, of course it isn't.
But you say it is.
It's a transformative technology. I mean, if we were having this discussion 100 years ago, you would probably be against electricity.
That's very different. No, people don't have heat.
She's not against electricity.
No, not against people being able to eat and have heat and so forth. But come on, getting on the internet.
There's not much that you can do without it.
But when you think about it, though, you do think about a disadvantage. Just in terms of the workforce. How can you get a job today if you don't have access to the internet? If you don't have access, you're not getting that job.
Go to the library. You've got it in schools. Schools, they have internet. You've got the library. I mean, but for taxpayers to pay for other individuals to have internet when you have to pay for your own, I think that's bum.
I mean, water, electricity. I mean, would you argue that the government should not regulate
that's not even close to the same thing.
This is
water,
this is a
food, food and water versus the internet?
Yes,
You know, when you're born nowadays, you know, you get
technology.
your name on your birth certificate and your email address. I mean, it's
Well, go to the library. Sorry, I mean, you know, schools, libraries, but I don't think that we should be paying for internet service.
But
for
aren't
people.
libraries closing everywhere? I mean, so what happened? You know,
Well, now that they're transforming into
No, they
internet
won't.
providers. I mean, books. When's the last time you were in a library?
It
When's
was
the last time you were
full.
in a
Last time I
library?
was in the library, it was very full.
But where were the books?
In the back.
In the back.
Everybody has the internet.
And the books were in the
they're
back.
underneath. They're holding the computer.
They're holding the computer.
Exactly. I can see them. But I do think it brings up a good point because you really are at a disadvantage if you don't have
Absolutely.
access. And I'm with you. I think it should. We're in a world now where it's becoming, you know, it's along the lines of a necessity of water, electricity. This is something. This is a resource. It's a resource we need
information,
to
yeah.
live in our country.
And the
now.
government paid to mow my yard too. Can I get that? Can I get them to buy my wardrobe? That's what I want to know.
But I want to jump in with that other point. The recent presidential election, one of the big elements, issues that drove Ron Paul's success as a candidate was we're not going to tax the internet, that the internet will remain free.
Right.
And how many people did
Well, I
it
agree
occur to
with
them,
that.
like, is the internet not going to be free?
Right.
Well, anything that's a big success,
Yes.
somebody's going to get a hold
Right.
on it, they're going to control it, and then they're going to make money off you wanting to access it.
I think it should be in schools, so they should have the internet in all schools. Is that okay?
Ron Paul, the rock star.
think everyone should
Jose,
have
I do want
access
to
to
ask
it.
you this question though. Do you think that ultimately TV and internet are going to fade out completely, and something else will sort of replace them both? I mean, where are we headed?
Tell about the feelings.
So look, you know, prognosticate a little bit. Look into your crystal ball. What do you think?
What do I see the transformative technology being? Wireless internet, definitely. Wireless. Everything is going to be wireless. I mean, even electricity at some point will be transmitted wirelessly. I think those two systems will couple together. Electrical providers, broadband internet providers, all of that will be, and everybody will have wearable computers,
Like
Google glasses,
Google Watches. Oh, see, we talked about this last week. Do you think Google glasses are going to take off?
Absolutely.
Really? See, I don't.
I think it's.
I hope they don't.
I think they will.
I think they will.
People bump into me enough walking the streets of Manhattan doing this.
I mean, I
don't
lose
need them
enough
doing this.
pairs of sunglasses. I can't. I don't need something else to lose that's worth
Not
a lot of
about
money.
it, I think it will.
But let me make the point that when you talk about all this kind of transformative technology, you still need content. And even though television is going to become something different than what it is now, television will be like what radio was in the 1920s. Radio was indispensable. And then when television came in the late 40s, early 50s, they worried that radio was going to go away. And the movies worried that they were going to lose. Audiences would stay home and watch television and not go to the movies. And that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, right? So,
No.
so you think it's just a lot of hype?
Well, no, I mean, it's good hype because it is happening, but in terms of the business of the content providers, the storytellers in Los Angeles and New York and elsewhere.
But in terms of content providers, you have to think about sort of the diversity. All these voices that used to not be heard are now being heard because of
And that's
places.
not a
I mean,
bad thing.
you can't
Not a bad thing at all.
You can't put a price on that.
That's
I mean, that's really invaluable.
That's a transformative technology right there. I mean, you have a person, Bill can start up his own YouTube channel and have the same broadcasting capability that NBC or Ebrew TV or anyone else does currently, and that's amazing. That's never happened before. We don't know where that's going to lead us.
We haven't turned a profit on it yet, but thank you.
Yeah. Has anyone heard of the Streamy Awards?
Yes.
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 I haven't. Please.
I was actually in a webisode that got nominated for
Webisode, I
Streamy
like
Award.
that.
Well, that's the big thing for
Webisode,
actors
literally.
in New York and LA. That's the big thing, is to get into a webisode because
So a Streamy Award is what?
it would be the Oscars for content that is only on the internet.
And who runs these awards? I mean, who's?
The guys who came up with the idea.
I mean, is this a legitimate? Is it like a legitimate Academy of Film? I mean, is this like in a legitimate board of people, or is this kind of
it's legitimate in that it's people who work in cyberspace, who are working on providing content and want to bring a sort of quality control, just as back in 1929, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences was formed to impose a quality control on a wide open field of movie
But the
making.
irony is the Streamy Awards air on broadcast TV, right?
Are they broadcasting?
Oh, that's funny if they do.
doing
We're like,
great.
That was a joke. The irony. The web awards. You can only watch them on TV.
but it makes sense
Silly.
that people are always just looking at everything on the web. There should be awards just for
No, I mean,
that
right.
medium. I think that's great.
Right.
Recognizing
It's fascinating.
quality,
Exactly.
which helps you then
Quality.
get that quality
Exactly.
out.
Right,
If
right.
this is the best, more
Right.
people should know about it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of quality, I want to thank our quality panel. Some quality conversation as always, but extra fresh. So thanks, you guys. Very insightful as always. We're out of time. Thanks once again to our all-star panel for their fresh, insightful outlooks. If you have a fresh outlook, let us know. We want to hear about it. Our Facebook page, our Twitter page @AbreWTV or #FreshOutlook. I'm TWB or in the Twitterverse @TWGrill. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Fresh Outlook.